everyone, and welcome to the introduction video for a new series I will be starting for the game F.E.A.R 1. F.E.A.R 1 will have a config and tech video following the introduction video. Then there will be a modding video that follows the config and tech video. F.E.A.R 1 and the two DLCs will all share the same introduction, config and tech, and modding videos, as a lot of the information is the same, but some things are specific to each game. Any links that are covered in this video will be in the description below. I hope you enjoy the information and that it gives you the best F.E.A.R 1 experience you can have. This game was developed by Monolith Productions. No, not that Monolith from Space Quest 3. Monolith is an American developer based in Kirkland, Washington. They were founded in 1994 by a group of around 7 people. The Warner Brothers Games studio owns Monolith as of 2004. The company is known for games such as F.E.A.R, Condemned, and Blood. Some general information about the game. F.E.A.R, F.E.A.R, which stands for First Encounter Assault Recon, is still one of the best first-person shooters out there. It's a horror game that most will probably not find scary by today's standards. Still, it is pretty creepy and has a good Japanese horror atmosphere. It features a young girl named Alma Wade. She is part of the creepy, long black hair girl group consisting of Samara from The Ring and Kayako from The Grudge. I still like the creepy Japanese horror girls in games myself. However, it is definitely overused in horror games and horror movies. There is another character in F.E.A.R 1 called Paxton Fettel. He has one of my favorite voices for a villain in video games. The voice actor, Peter Lorre, really adds a lot to Fettel's character, making him stand out and something you remember long after playing the game. Any multiplayer aspects this game once had are no longer supported. F.E.A.R 1 is strictly a single-player game. Some information about the gameplay. The fast action-packed gameplay still holds up very well, with blood, explosions, and particle effects everywhere. I really love the ragdoll physics of this game when killing enemies. When you see that Havoc engine logo at the start of a game, you know it's going to have awesome physics. There's also a wide assortment of weapons to use throughout the game. One of the gameplay mechanics F.E.A.R is known for is its reflex time or bullet time ability, which allows you to slow down time and cause some major damage into the enemies and the environments. A little about the enemy AI. The AI is very well designed and a standout feature, and highly regarded if you look on the internet about enemy AI in video games. It uses flanking maneuvers, suppressive fire, and retreating when under heavy fire. The AI has a lot of spoken dialogue as well, letting you listen in on what they are doing, thinking, and planning. Some other information here. If you have watched my playthrough of Penumbra Overture, I will link the playlist to the game in the description if you haven't. The graphics in Penumbra and F.E.A.R 1 remind me of each other, if only for the similarity in the way the graphics look and are presented. Penumbra Overture came out 2 years after F.E.A.R 1. If you like the style of action and gunplay of F.E.A.R, check out the movies by John Woo. I'm pretty sure Monolith was inspired by them. Here is an example from the John Woo movie called Hard Boiled, starring Chow Yun-fat. You may recognize Mr. Chow from Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. He has been in a lot of really good movies. Gotta love that movie cover for Hard Boiled. I'll link to that video in the description. A new game like F.E.A.R. There is a new game that is out on PC called Trepang 2. I don't think it's a sequel, as I couldn't find the first one, and the 2 looks like a 2 to the second power kind of 2. I just found out about it while doing my research for F.E.A.R to make these videos. It looks like a modernized version of F.E.A.R with maybe less emphasis on the horror element. I don't know anything about it, but wanted to include it here. If you have played it, let me know in the comments if it's any good. Someone that reviewed it said it didn't surpass F.E.A.R, that it wasn't as good. I may have to check this game out in the future. Some closing information here. You can play this game, F.E.A.R, on Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 as well. I prefer games like F.E.A.R with mouse and keyboard, as well as any PC-only improvements I can take advantage of. This game is old these days and really deserves a proper remake. Not because of the visuals being bad, more for the technical aspects of running it. The issues I have had with F.E.A.R I have been able to address in the past. The game is getting older, as I said, and the operating systems like Windows are getting newer, so no matter how much you adjust settings or mod the game, you should expect some issues or weirdness to happen on the PC version. I'll try my best to help you get the game running stable, so you can enjoy this game on your own, as well as with me in our playthrough. Some information about the DLCs. After completing the main game, I will be playing through the 2 DLCs. These 2 DLCs are not made by Monolith Productions. Rather, they are made by a developer called Timegate Studios. They are, however, official DLC releases for the game. I'll talk here a little about Timegate Studios. They don't really have many games to speak of, nothing personal against the studio. They did have involvement with Aliens Colonial Marines. Now, before you think, oh well, now I know the 2 F.E.A.R 1 DLCs are gonna suck. The reasons why Aliens Colonial Marines sucked are not Timegate's fault. It's Sega's and Gearbox's fault. Gearbox outsourced stuff to Timegate Studios instead of handling it themselves, because Gearbox was too focused on a Borderlands game to care about the Alien game that they were also working on. Timegate Studios didn't have much to work with and were in a constant changing of plans scenario. According to the Wikipedia, Timegate contributed about 20 to 25% of the total development of Aliens Colonial Marines. There's plenty of information online about the whole development of that game. It should have never been released, especially considering it was an Alien game. Worth mentioning that these 2 DLCs are not considered canon with the story of F.E.A.R either. When Monolith developed F.E.A.R 2, they took it in a different direction story-wise, so they had to disregard the story of the 2 DLCs. About Extraction Point, this DLC picks up right at the end of the base game of F.E.A.R 1, so it acts as a continuation of the story thus far. Perseus Mandate, the 2nd DLC. This information here is lifted right from the Wikipedia. The game is not a narrative sequel to Extraction Point, but rather a sidequel, which is a word I don't think I have ever heard in gaming circles. A sidequel meaning basically like an extended side quest. It's still kind of a sequel, but it's a side quest to a previous game, so they're calling it a sidequel. And it's because Perseus Mandate runs parallel to the second half of the original F.E.A.R 1 and most of Extraction Point. The story follows a new character that you play as who is a member of a secondary F.E.A.R team, so you don't play as the same person. The genre this game falls under is action, paranormal, horror, first-person shooter. I wouldn't include survival in there because it's not a survival horror game. It's an action horror game. You have plenty of weapons and ammo and grenades and all kinds of stuff at your disposal. So we'll go over here the releases in the series itself, complete series itself by year. So the first F.E.A.R, F.E.A.R 1, was released in 2005. And then the F.E.A.R 1 DLC, Extraction Point, came out in 2006. The F.E.A.R 1 DLC, Perseus Mandate, came out in 2007. So between the game and the DLCs, just a year apart. Not bad. F.E.A.R 2, Project Origin, came out in 2009. And also that same year, F.E.A.R 2 DLC called Reborn came out in 2009. F.E.A.R 3 came out in 2011. And then in 2014, F.E.A.R Online came out. And that's been the last release in 2014 that the franchise of F.E.A.R has seen. I never played F.E.A.R Online myself. It was a free-to-play online multiplayer shooter. Sounds awesome. I'm assuming it had some sort of cash shop, possibly. The game was not developed by Monolith Productions. Off the top of my head, I didn't write it down. I don't know who developed it, but it was not Monolith. It came out, as I said, in 2014, and the servers were shut down in 2015. So the game didn't even last a year. So it either sucked, or nobody cared about F.E.A.R at the time, or both. I think it might have still even been in a beta release or something up until it shut down. How long to beat this game and the DLCs? So the main game of F.E.A.R 1, the base game, should take roughly anywhere from 8 to 12 hours. These time frames I give you on games are just averages from people that submit their averages on this how long to beat site. It has nothing to do with my experience of playing through a game and timing it or anything like that. That being said, that they are an average, what the average player would spend, you can expect me on the most situations to fall on the higher end of the playthrough time, simply because I'm not going to be speedrunning or purposely trying to go through areas quickly. I'm going to be trying to show the games off that I play, take my time, explain things, you know, enjoy the game. There's no need to rush through it. So that's going to put me on the higher end of getting through games. So the base game, anywhere from 8 to 12. Extraction Point, roughly around 5 hours. And Perseus Mandate, roughly around 6 hours. So those two DLCs, I think back then when F.E.A.R was, you know, newer, they called them expansions back then, kind of like what World of Warcraft, I don't know if that's what they still call it, World of Warcraft expansions or not, but the same kind of terminology was used back then for games. They weren't called DLCs like they are now. but they have some fair length to them. So adding all that up and just guesstimating, I would assume for me to get through the base game and the 2 DLCs, which I'm going to be playing consecutively on my channel, should take around 20 plus hours, somewhere around there, for me to get through all of it. Modding, there are a handful of mods that I will be using that we will go over in the modding video. In the next video, we will be getting into the configuration and technical side of things. I will record the desktop of my PC, folder view on one side, and my notes on what to adjust on the other side of the screen. We'll just walk through the process one thing at a time, like we've done before. Thanks for watching, and we will see you there.